Hi everyone. I did an earlier video showing how to paint washes with tips and techniques on how to do it so you don't end up with any unwanted sharp lines in the middle of your wash. And I showed you how to do that with various obstacles in the way, various shapes in the way, and how to make sure that you jump back and catch the wet paint before it dries, before moving on to paint the next area. So I thought I would share a little bit of my work. This is me painting Iona Abbey on the Isle of Iona in Scotland. And you can see the process in action of painting these washes over relatively large areas. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm painting many of the roofs and walls on Iona Abbey here, and it might just be useful for you to watch to see how to do it in reality, not just filling in a square for practice. Now, this actually isn't the best example of showing you how to do a smooth wash because there are blotchy areas in the middle there where I haven't caught the paint before it dried quickly enough. But if you continue watching, you'll see better quality painting where the wash is much smoother. So for this little roof area, you can see there the paint is much wetter. I've got more water and more pigment in my brush, so the wash is much smoother and far less likely to end up with any hard lines in the middle of it. You can see me any minute now just about to pull that area of water and pigment down, so that smooths it all out. Now here I'm showing you me painting these little windows. What I've done is I'm on the third one, and I don't carry on and paint the fourth and fifth window because I figure that by the time I've done that the paint will have dried and I won't be able to blend out the colour without having a hard line in the middle of the window. Now I move on to painting the fourth window, and I'm going to go back in and add a bit more darker colour here because this window is darker. And I'm adding it straight back on top of the first layer of paint I painted, and then moving straight on to the fifth window because the fourth window is still very wet. So I'll do the fifth one, then jump back and blend it down. I'm using a larger brush here. Really, you should always use the largest brush that you have possible where it leaves you comfortable painting the area that you're painting. If you paint too much of your painting in a small brush, it can feel, it just changes the feel of the paint. It takes away the liveliness of it and the spontaneity kind of feeling that you get from watercolour paint. But thankfully this brush has a lovely sharp point, so I can get nice precise edges. The burnt sienna colour is still quite wet, so I'm going straight back in with a much darker colour to give me some shadow, but that darker colour it's blending in a little bit as well. And because it's an old building, I'm not looking for perfect blends in some of the areas, just a little bit of imperfectness adds to the feel of these older buildings. So this little area here, I think gives a good example of how to work with the bead of water. So that's the little pool of water you can see when you put your brush down and you have that the little puddle of water there, so pull that bead of water with you as you go and join it up with any previous areas you've painted, and it should give you a lovely smooth finish. And this is me adding another colour in, blending it straight into the first colour because the first colour is still wet. So I can go straight in with it and it blends itself into the first colour without me having to do very much work at all. Again, you can see the bead of water doing its work here in this part of the illustration. So the area that looks very wet, you see the bead of water appearing just when I lift my brush off. So I'm always going to go back to that bead of water and take it with me. Or if I leave it there, I'll be back to it in a matter of seconds to help blend the paint into it. There's me just about to jump back up to where the bead of water was. And you can see there's no evidence of me joining up the paint there. It just looks like one flat wash. And here I'm going back in to add in a second colour, again without having to do an awful lot of work because the original wash is still wet, so it's blending itself. If you can see the glisten of water as you're painting, then you know the paint is still wet enough to paint on top of. If you can't, if it's dried a little bit past that glisten of water, it's too dry, don't go back onto it. So here you can see I'm having to paint around lots of obstacles and shapes. I'm not painting in the one direction continually. I'm just painting small areas and then jumping back, making sure to join up my painting with any areas that have not been completed, where the paint would be left to dry out. So I'm painting the door here in a wash, and as you'll be able to see, it doesn't seem to be going on as smoothly as I would like. There's a kind of darker area. So I go back over the whole door. The paint is still very wet, so I can go back over the whole door, making sure to try and spread the pigment around a little bit more evenly. So here's the completed painting, but as you can see, it's an old building. I've gone back over all the washes I've already showed you with more washes, more blends, more variations in colour. And if you want to see my instructions on how to paint washes with no hard lines in them, nice smooth washes, then click on the video that should appear on the screen round about now. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.